Hi friends, Juan the Yarn Addict here, bringing you part 2 of the Chunky Monkey Market mesh bag tutorial. So if you're just happening upon this video for the first time, part 1 is located in the show notes. Feel free to click that link, which will take you to the very beginning of this tutorial. Once you're done part 1, come see us for part 2, and we will pick up where you left off from part 1. Okay? So we left off with making sure that we had 5 rounds of single crochets from the part 1 video. And right now I'm in the very last stitch before the stitch marker. And so what we want to do is take off the stitch marker like that. And then we're going to go into this stitch and draw up a loop and slip to close, just like that. From here, we're going to chain 2. And then I'm going to grab the scissors and cut a tail. We're going to pull the hook away from our work, and we're going to take our hands here and just slide those 2 chains right into our work, just like that. Okay? And then, of course, we will need to sew in our ends. But for now, our bag is actually complete. So from here, what we want to do is create handles. Okay, so I'm going to give you the counts for the handles in just a second. Let me go ahead and flip our work around to give you a fresh side to look at. Okay, so what we want to look at is the top of the bag here. You want to make sure that you have, well, first of all, let's make sure that we're laying completely flat. Make sure that your bag is flat, and then you're going to slide down here to the end, and you're going to make sure that the front and the back stitches match, okay, all the way across. That's important because we want to make sure that our handles, which is what we're doing next, are even from the front to the back. And you're going to need 8 stitch markers for this. So I have mine right here. Feel free to pause me to grab your stitch markers. Use stitch markers, or you can use pieces of yarn. However you want to do that is absolutely fine. So let me just grab my hook here to show you. So when you look at the front and the back here, okay, you have these 2 stitches right here on the sides, which do not count, okay? Pretend they don't exist. We're only worried about the stitches that we can see the front and the back of, okay? From there, we want to count 11 across, all right? So let me grab my stitch marker. So from here, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And you're going to place that stitch marker right in there. Okay? So making sure that your stitches are even all the way across, front to back. You're going to go ahead and place another stitch marker right behind that for the other side of the bag. Again, you want to make sure that your handles are even on the front and on the back. So there's that. Okay, just to recap, it's 11 from the edge. Now, you're not counting this stitch right here. Okay, so when you line this up just like that, you're going to see 2 stitches here on the end. They're not going to count. You're only going to count the ones that are on the front and the back. Count 11. And then from here, you're going to count 7. So, and you're going to include the stitch that has the stitch marker. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So these are the stitches, and we're going to place stitch markers in those stitches there. Just like that. Okay, so this is the beginning width of our handles. Okay, and then from here, we're going to literally jump to the other side and do the same thing. Now I'll sew in that end when I go to pause. But for now, what we want to do is make sure that our front and our back stitches are matched. Okay, so you have these 2 stitches here on the end. They don't count. Just make sure that the remaining stitches are matching, which in our case they are. So let me grab a stitch marker and count. We're going to go this way 11 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to place a stitch marker right into that stitch, just like that. Grab another one, place a stitch marker right behind there, and from there we're going to count 7 stitches going this way. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're going to do 2 more stitch markers. And we're going to place one here for the front. Okay. So now we have the stitch markers placed for our handles. Okay, so let me just place us on a brief pause and I will be right back. Okay friends, so I am back. I've taken the liberty to sew in my ends and things, and I just realized that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, I placed the stitch marker in the wrong place here. So just verify and make sure that there's 7 apart. This one here should be 1 closer. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Perfect. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So now what we're going to do is build out the handles. Okay, so what we're going to do is single crochets, starting in this green stitch marker and ending in this red stitch marker. Okay, so let me grab our hook here and create a slip knot on our hook. However you do this is absolutely fine. This is how I do it. And so from here, what we want to do is a standing single crochet into that stitch. So let me insert the hook first so I don't lose my place, and take out that stitch marker. And from here, we're going to draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through the loops there. Just like that. So that's the first single crochet, and we're going to go across until we get to the red. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Let's remove that stitch marker. Okay. So that is going to be the width of our handle. Now, if you want to make yours wider, by all means, but for this bag, it is 7 single crochets across, and we're going to go 25 rows up. So from here, you're just going to chain 1, turn the work, and just go back into that very first stitch that you came out of with a single crochet. Let's make sure that the tension and everything is correct. There we go. And then we're just going to go back to the beginning of our section here. Just like that until we come to this standing single. And we're going to insert our hook into a single crochet. Okay, so there are 2 rows here. So what we want to do is 25 rows in total, okay? And so go back and forth until you have 25 rows, and I will meet you when we have 25 rows. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, friends, so I have achieved the 25 rows. Just double check your counts to make sure, because we want to make sure that everything is balanced between the front and the back. And so you should have landed back in the front side of our work. So let me just, so this is the front, and here's what 25 rows looks like. And so once you have your 25 rows, what you want to do is chain 2, just like that, and you want to cut a tail about 4 or so inches long enough for you to be able to sew in that end, just like that. And then you're going to pull the hook away from your work, and we're going to pull all of this in to knot that up, just like that. Okay, so one thing you'll notice is that at this point the bag is pretty big, and it's going to want to move however it wants to move, so be prepared for that. And so what we want to do now is sew in our end. So I've been sewing in the ends as we go along. So I've sewn in the beginning parts of this. This is done. And so let me just wrap the needle around the eye, pinch underneath, and feed it through, just like that. And then let's make sure we're on the inside. So this is the front. So let's turn it over. So you want to sew in your ends on the inside, okay? Let's pull that through. Straighten that back out. And let's feed that back through, going back this way. And then one more time going in that other direction. Okay, perfect. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and sew in, cut off this end here. There we go. Okay, so that is what one of the handles looks like. Okay, and so what we need to do is we need to repeat this 3 more times. So we'll go to the next set of stitch markers. Let's verify and make sure that it is 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Perfect. And so let's take this stitch marker out. Once we have the hook, well, let's get the yarn first. Okay, so let's create a slip knot on our hook, just like that. And now insert the hook and take out the stitch marker. And do a standing single. So draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through both, just like that. Okay, single crochet 7 times. It's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's take that out, and 7. Okay. So now that we have our 7 singles, just like that, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now as our handle becomes larger, you won't have to turn your work, you can just turn the handle here. So the whole bag won't have to flip. At any rate, let's go back into that very first stitch that we just came out of and do a single crochet. And just continually go back and forth until you have 25 rows of single crochets. We just finished this second row with you. 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so we have 2 rows so far of single crochets for our handle. Again, we're going to need 25 rows here, and once you're done, snip off, double knot, and all the things, but make sure that you're sewing in your ends as you go, just like that. So once you have your 25 rows, you're going to chain 2, push it down to lock in your knot, and then just sew in your ends. Okay, so do this process 3 more times. Okay, so I'm on row 2 here. I'm going to continually go back and forth until I have 25 rows. And then I'm going to chain 2, cut off a tail, sew it in. All right, so I will meet you back here once I have all of my handles done. Okay, so again, 4 handles, 25 rows, and feel free to rewind and replay if you need any of these necessary steps to finish your handles, okay? I'll be right back. Okay, friends, so I am back. So I have all 4 of our handle sections completed, 25 rows, just like this. And I made sure to sew in the ends. You can do them at the very end if you want. For this project, I try to do it as I go along, just so that there aren't a lot of ends at the end. So what we need to do now is connect our handles. So we have the 2 fronts and the 2 backs. So we'll start with the fronts. So what we want to do is naturally make sure that the front just rides all along like this, okay? But in order to connect them and have a seamless edge, what we want to do is turn our handles around so that we're looking at the insides of our handles, okay? So again, if your handles are laying flat, bring them together and then flip. So you have your handles like this, okay? So from here, what we need to do is create a slip knot on our hook. And so let me put those down. I'm going to create the slip knot on my hook. However you do this is absolutely fine. Here we go. And we're going to bring those handles together one more time. So just like this, and then flip it around. Okay. And so with our hook, we're going to go into the very first stitch of both sides, just like that. We're going to draw up a loop. We should have 2 sets of loops on our hook like that. Yarn over and go through all the loops there. Okay. So from here, once we have that standing single, we're going to go into each stitch, going into the front and making sure to pick up all those loops, draw up a loop and slip, just like that. And we're going to continue to do this all the way across by just slip stitching through all of those loops. Just like this. And I have one more left. There we go. So once you have your 7 stitches completed there, we're going to chain 2, grab the scissors, cut a tail, pull the hook away from our work, and pull this down to secure our stitches. And so this is what it's looking like. And when you flip it, it's pretty great. Okay. Now, when you go to join, you can do a standing slip stitch, but I do a standing single just to make sure that it's secure. It's just a personal preference. Feel free to do the standing slip stitch if you know how to do it. If not, just do the standing single because it really doesn't make a bit of a difference. Okay, so now that we have the 2 fronts together, let's do the 2 backs. I'm going to take our bag and flip it around. And like the other side there, we're going to take the 2 handles here, have them follow suit so that they're nice and even, right? And then take it and flip it like this. And just line up your stitches, making sure that everything is even. And of course, let's not forget the slip knot on our hook. So let's do that. It's almost like we need another set of hands. Okay, now that that is done, we'll set that right there. Let's make sure the handles are correct. So we have that, and then we're going to flip it around to work on the inside. And let's insert our hook into that first stitch. Go into the first stitch. Let's grab our yarn, pull a loop through, yarn over and go through all of those loops, just like that. And from here, we're just going to do a series of slip stitches. Make sure you have your stitches lined up. It's very easy to miss a stitch here because it's not perfectly lined up. It actually wants to go in its own direction, you know. So let's go ahead, go into the second stitch there, the second stitch there, drop a loop and slip. Go into the next one, and then into the next one, drop a loop and slip. Let's continue to do that for the remainder of the side there. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so once you have your stitches, you're going to chain 2, grab your scissors and cut a tail, pull your hook away from your work, and pull all this down into your project, just like that. And of course, we're going to sew that in a second. So this is what it looks like when all is said and done. And we are going to put a border around all of this, so no worries about how any of this is looking right now. So I'm going to go ahead and sew in our ends. So I'm going to place this on a brief pause. I'm going to sew in these ends and I'll be right back. Okay friends, so the handles are on, all is good, we're joined. And so from here what we're going to do is we're going to work around the edges. We're going to put an edging to this and we're going to round out these hard corners. Okay, so my thought process was to curve this in this center stitch right here. We're going to put the longest stitch going catty corner. So it's going to be a treble coming out of that corner, and then a double, and then a half double, and then a single. So to get started on all of this, what we need to do is create a slip knot on our hook, just like that. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to go into the 4th stitch from the corner. So we're not counting, let me bring this closer. So this particular stitch right here, we're not counting that. That is a shared stitch. It's already taken, right? So we're going to start here and we're going to go into the 4th stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to go into that 4th stitch. Let me get my yarn correct. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to do a standing single crochet. So we insert our hook, drop a loop, yarn over, and go through both. Just like that. And we're going to continue doing single crochets, just like this, making sure we pick up both the front and back loops. This is just going to put a nice little finishing edge on our bag. And it's going to tie in the white that we have down here. So we're going to continue doing this until we reach the 4th stitch from the corner. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to continue doing this until we get to here, okay? I'm going to place this on a brief pause, and I'll be back once we get to this point right here. Okay, so I am back. So this is where I'm at. Now, if you look on this side, there are 3 empty stitches here. And again, we're not counting this because it is a shared stitch. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And then on this side, you want to have 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So from here, what we need to do, provide that you have 3 empty stitches. In this next stitch, we're going to do a half double crochet. So yarn over, go into the stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, and go through all of your loops. In the next stitch, we're going to do a double crochet. Yarn over, go in, drop a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. In this next stitch, and if you notice, it's right here, but we're going to go in here. So we're skipping this. We're going to go into that corner piece right here with a treble crochet. So we're going to yarn over twice, go into that corner, drop a loop, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, just like that. If you notice, there's a nice little curve happening. So from here, we are going to skip this section right here and go right into this open space right here with a double crochet. So yarn over, go in, drop a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Let's slide our work around like this. And then in this space right here, we are going to insert a half double crochet. So yarn over, go into that fold there, draw up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 loops. In the next available space, which is right here, we're going to insert a double crochet, just like that. And as you can see, we have the curve that we've been looking for. Super nice. Okay, so all the corners are going to look like that. So as for the rest of our handle here going around, we are going to insert 1 double crochet in the fold and 1 double crochet in the window. Sorry, 1 single, my apologies. 1 single in the fold and 1 single in the window. 1 single in the fold, and I'm calling these creases folds. I don't know why, that's just what I'm calling them. So single and single. Okay, so continue doing this until we get to the other side here. Once I get closer to this corner, I'm going to pick back up and meet you like right about here. But in the meantime, continue doing 1 single in the fold, 1 single in the window, and I will meet you on this side over here in just a second. Okay friends, so I am back. We've done almost a complete circle here. And so just wanted to break this down for you once more. We've done it already over here in this corner. You see how we have that nice curve. We're just going to repeat that over here. So we started this circle here with a single, right? So let's just backtrack. In this corner space right here, we're going to insert a treble crochet. Now on either side of this stitch, it's going to remain empty just to allow flexibility. So no stitch here and no stitch here. Okay, so the next available stitch on this side is going to be right here. So if you see this band of stitches here that go horizontal, that is where we're going to insert our double crochet. And then in the window here is where we're going to insert our half double crochet. And then in this particular area here is where we're going to insert a single. Okay, so just breaking that down in every available space, as you can see that I've been doing here. We're going to continue that trend. So I have 1 more single to put here, and then in this space here it's going to be a half double, and then a double, and then from here we're going to jump right into this middle piece right here with a treble. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to insert a single crochet, and then in the next available space we're going to do a half double, and then in the next available space, which is right here, we're going to insert a double crochet. Let me make sure I have all my loops first. I think I lost a loop there. Here we go. Okay, now a double crochet. And now we're going to jump from there right into this corner with a treble. Yarn over twice, go into that corner, drop a loop, go through 2, go through 2, go through 2, just like that. And then from here, we're going to skip skip this stitch right here, jump here, and do a double crochet. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do a half double. Just like that. And now that very next stitch should be a single crochet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into that stitch, draw up a loop, and slip to close. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to cut a tail off there. Okay, and then we're going to pull the hook away from our work. We're going to pull this all down. Okay, the next step from here is to sew in the ends. So I'm going to sew in my ends and I'll be right back. Okay friends, so I'm back. I've sewn in the ends and this is what we're looking like. It's a nice curved design there, and it allows flexibility without it all bulking up there in the corners. So super nice. Okay, so what we're going to do is do the same thing on the other side. Okay, this side will be a little faster just because we've gone through all the things already. Let me just fold this down. Okay, so just to recap very quickly, we're going to create a slip knot on our hook. However you do that is absolutely fine. And then we're going to go into the 4th stitch from the corner. Remember, this is a shared space. So 1, 2, 3, go into the 4th stitch, do a standing single. So you're just going to insert your hook, draw through a loop, yarn over, and go through both, just like that. You're going to go all the way around until you get to your corner here. So I will meet you right here just for good measure to make sure you can get through this corner. If you ever, lose your way, just look at the other side and then just match the other side and you should be good. Okay, so as I just said, for good measure, I'm going to single crochet here and I will meet you right here. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, so I am back. We have 3 stitches here remaining. So in the next stitch here is going to be a half double. In the next stitch it's going to be a double crochet. And then we're going to skip this stitch and go into this shared space here. And in most cases you'll be able to identify it because it's got that hole there. So we're going to yarn over twice and go into that particular stitch, draw up a loop, and create our treble crochet, just like that. We're going to slide our work around. And so from here, we are going to skip this first portion here, just like we skipped that last stitch. And we're going to go into the next available open space right here with a double crochet. From there, we're going to go into the fold here with a half double. And then from there, we're going to go into the next space with a single. And that's how we get around the corner. Okay, so continue on with this, and I will see you at the end over here where we will finish up doing the insides of the handles. Okay, I'll be right back in just a second. Okay friends, so I made it around to the other side here, and I've gone through the corner here as we've done in the past. And so to finish this off, what we want to do is insert our crochet hook into the first stitch, draw up a loop, and slip to close. From here, we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to cut a tail. All right. And it's going to be about yay long. I want to say that's about a good 4 inches. And then we're going to pull the hook away from our work, squeeze this down into our work, just like that. And then of course we need to sew in our ends. So I'll be right back after I sew in my ends. 1 second. Okay friends, so here we are. I have both of the inside sections completed. This is the other side there. So both sides are completed. It's a pretty big bag at this point. So now what we need to do is we need to do the other section here. So let me just turn the bag around and show you. So the section that is left to be worked here is this inside section. So the inside section is one continuous piece here. So we're going to start here, come around, go down this handle, come around the back, and then come up the handle and around. So it's one big continuous circle here. So like the inside, we're going to start in the fourth stitch from the corner. That shared space is going to be considered the corner. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 is where we're going to start. Let me just put my needle right there so I don't lose my place. And I'm going to grab my hook, and we're going to create a slip knot on the hook. As always, however you do this is absolutely fine. So this is what we're looking like. So from here, in this stitch, we're going to do a standing single crochet. We're going to go all the way down until we get to this very stitch, which leaves us with 3 stitches remaining. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to this stitch here. Let's get the yarn back on the hook. It slipped off. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into that stitch and do a standing single. Let me get the yarn on the right side here. Here we go. That's a standing single. And then we're going to do a series of single crochets until we have 3 stitches remaining. Okay, so I'm going to place us on a brief pause until I get to that other side where there are 3 stitches remaining, okay? Okay friends, so we have 3 stitches remaining, and in this very next stitch we're going to do a half double crochet. Oops, okay, half double crochet, and in the next stitch we're going to do a double crochet, and then in this shared space, which is right here, we're going to do a treble crochet. So yarn over twice, go in and do our treble crochet. And let's pivot our work around here. Okay, and so we're going to skip this section right here, like we skipped this stitch right here. And we're going to go into the next available space, which is right here. And we're going to insert a double crochet in that space. Just like that. And then in the fold here, we're going to do a half double. And then in the next space, which is right here, we're going to insert a single. And that, like before, is how we get through a corner. All right, so we're going to do singles all the way around and then repeat the corner process and go all the way around doing single crochets. And then we're going to do a corner, come back around, do a corner, and I will meet you right here back at the beginning. Now feel free to rewind and replay if you need to revisit the corner, or you can just look at another corner and see how we get through that. But it's fairly easy at this point. We've done it a few times. So yeah, continue on with this, and I will meet you back at the beginning of the round, which is right here. Okay? Okay, friends, we're coming down the home stretch here. So I've gone all the way around our bag, and so here is where we started. I'm in that corner space there with the treble. We're going to skip a stitch and go into this next one here with a double. Go into the next one with a half double. And then from here, we're going to go into that standing single crochet with our hook, draw up a loop. Let me make sure we're picking up the right yarns here. There we go. And then slip to close, just like that. And from here, we're going to chain 2, grab the scissors and cut a tail, pull the hook away from our work, pinch, and pull down, nice and tight, just like that. Okay, so I'm going to sew in my ends very quickly, and I will be right back. Okay, friends, so everything has been sewn in, and this is what we're looking like. Super, super nice. I'm loving it. And of course, I just did the white to kind of accent the mesh. I could have gone with this tan color to just solidify everything to make it more fluid, but what fun is that? So anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. It's been a labor of love, this entire project. If you've been following my journey, you know all about everything that has happened with this bag. I am so happy that it is done. Again, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give me a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. And then, of course, hit those notifications to stay updated with everything regarding me and my channel. It has been an honor and a privilege doing this bag for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as me. And that is it for this one. So until the next one, guys, take care. Bye-bye.